Those are right.
Good.
I took notes from yesterday.
We have a whole crew
Lizzie,
here.
my HR director told me about this law about being over 40, and I was like, I just heard about this law about training.
Because you had such a great teacher.
And I recall it.
What law over
That
40?
doesn't apply to you.
Not to me, no, I'm perpetually 39.
Yes.
What can we not do if we're over 40?
No, you have extra protections if you're considered an elder worker.
Oh!
40.
All right. I made elder.
Well, I have exactly,
Two.
I have exactly 17 days before I'm over
This is
70.
something we've already done.
Yeah, that's a little different
You met
at the
40.
last meeting.
Yeah,
You
I'm
meant
not
40?
40, yeah.
You'll be 70.
71.
71. I got you beat.
By what, 3 years?
4. Well, today, 5.
I'm thinking about you.
Dum, da, dum, dum. A silence falls over the crowd.
How's Al doing?
But you always wrote
How's
it.
Al? Is she ready?
No, she is. Meeting to order. Welcome to the Bath Charter Township Board of Trustees special meeting for Friday, September 5th. We're holding a meeting today because we had to cancel our last meeting due to lack of quorum for some ill board members. So I'm glad to see everyone's kicking here, walking around. I will miss Al though. Let's start with the roll call.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
I'm here.
Ms. Butler Challenger here. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Hagerman? Here. Ms. Kellerman?
Here.
Mr. Kaki?
Here.
Mr. Rosecrans will be absent this evening. How about this afternoon?
I don't think he's coming in this evening.
I don't think so either.
For the record, nor am I. We'll move into item 2 on the agenda, which is civic reflection, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance, following with a moment of silence. So please stand if you're able to join us for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, we've got next up on the agenda, the approval of the agenda. I did not hear any changes. This is a slightly altered version from the one from Tuesday. Sure.
Could I add one little thing? It's on the back roads where the curves, the grass hasn't been cut all summer, I think. It's like this high, so it really cuts, like, I'm thinking Clark Road, Peacock. If we
Did you
could,
put it in your board comments?
no.
Well, that's a road commission
We
issue.
can't add
Okay.
any more to the special.
Okay,
meeting.
gotcha,
It's
okay.
a special meeting, yeah.
Special meeting, okay. All right, sorry, excuse me.
But nothing's stopping you from saying that in your board comments.
Okay,
Motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
I'll
second.
We have a motion and a second.
Who's she
Do
putting?
that too. Jen.
Okay. I must have been lower,
Any
Sherry.
other discussion, conversation about the agenda? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of the approval of the agenda as presented today, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the agenda stands. Disclosures of conflicts of interest. Does anybody have a conflict of interest that they'd like to disclose at the beginning of the meeting today? All right. That leads us to public statement 1. Those here in person in public are welcome to step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes to talk about something pertaining to the agenda. There will be a second time to speak to the board about any issue, another 3 minutes at the end of the meeting, but this first public statement is just for agenda-related items. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to address the board today? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Number 6 is old business, items for introduction and discussion. Small a is the letter of agreement between the township and the police officers' labor council patrol and the command unions. Superintendent Hildebrandt?
Thank you. If my counterpart here would like to take this, I would be grateful for her to do that.
Good afternoon, members of the board. As you all certainly well recall, we have been engaged in conversation first about your non-union staff and the retirement plan system that was in effect and making changes as you did in midsummer, which I'll talk about in a moment. But you are also aware along those same lines that we have been in negotiations with the two represented groups, which constitutes your patrol officers and your command officers within your police department. I am pleased to be here today, having worked with the superintendent and the police officers labor council, whose representative here is here. Mr. Eager is in the back row over there. We are very happy to be able to present the letter of agreement that is in your packet for your consideration. This is up for discussion today and, of course, action at your next meeting, but I will be unable to attend the next meeting, so I would appreciate a few moments to kind of give you the background so you're as prepared as possible and can pummel me with questions as needed. So a little bit of background, because I know not everyone speaks this language and has to deal with this all the time. The parties' collective bargaining agreements currently provide for a MERS B4 pension, which is a defined benefit pension plan. And you'll remember from our prior commentary that a defined benefit pension plan basically says there's a particular amount that will be sent to you on a regular basis once you are in retirement. Contrast that with a defined contribution plan, which is more like what you may be accustomed to in the private sector, like a 401k, where you have a set amount that you're putting in while you're working. You don't know exactly how much you'll be getting once you're in retirement on a regular basis in the form of sort of almost like a paycheck to yourself. But there's a distinction between those two types of plans. The non-union staff were also on that same MERS plan right up until the summer when some adjustments were made to move them all to a defined contribution 401k style plan. And you all spent a good amount of time working through very fun MERS documents and updating those MERS documents to get them to a new location. Through the collective bargaining agreement, the employees and employer had a cost-sharing arrangement for that pension plan, which, as you know, is the primary reason that we began to have these conversations. The township's contribution toward the unfunded liability and ongoing benefits was capped at 11% of payroll and liability. And anything beyond that sum was the responsibility of the employees. What I thought you might find interesting was I went back and looked at all of your records going back to 2000 to know kind of where the contributions have been over time, because there is sometimes a question about why the township was itself capped at all. Why is the employee set bearing the increased cost over time? I can tell you that just in 2012, the total amount due between the unions themselves, the total employee staff, and the township equals exactly the amount that you are now paying. And remember that your staff are still paying more and above that. We have had an extraordinary increase in costs since 2012. Some of that because of market changes, some of that because of how MERS has adjusted their management of the funding. But it has been on a steady and quickly rising pace for employees across the board. And so that has been one of the large issues that we've been talking about. It has the total employee cost in the last couple of years has now been, if unaltered by this board, in excess of 25% of their paycheck, which this board has given direction was not acceptable, needed to make adjustments, and as you all know, we have already done so with the non-union staff. So we have been engaged in those good faith discussions with the Police Officers Labor Council, and through those negotiations have reached the letter of agreement in front of you, which provides for, I would say, 3 key components for you to understand. The first is that employees who are hired on or after September 1 of this year will be in a defined contribution plan, the structure of which is very, very similar but not exactly the same as the non-union staff. It is the same in the sense of your minimum contribution as a township is 5%. Employees have a mandatory contribution of 5%. But they also have the option to put additional funds aside into a 457, and if they do that, the township will match up to an additional 6%. So as you can see in the table, you can see how if an employee does nothing more than the basic minimum, your total contribution between the two parties is 10%. As a little place setting, that is about a quarter of what the combined parties are putting in right now out of their pockets toward this benefit. Your maximum contribution between the two parties will be a total of 22% if all is exercised according to greatest option.
Choice?
The choice is in that column that says voluntary employee contribution. So the township is in for 5% no matter what. The employee is in for 5% no matter what. But if there is an additional desire to put more funds aside, as many employees want to do to protect their future.
So their choice.
Their
then.
choice is to put in beyond the 5% that goes into a 457. If they do that, you can see kind of how the matching increases down the line, right? If they put in an additional, let's say 1% into their 457,
Gotcha.
the employee is in for 6, we're in for 6, and so on and so forth,
Okay.
up to a maximum contribution of 11% from the township. That 11% is consistent, I'm sorry, one moment, trustee Hagerman, is consistent with what you had historically been putting in toward the plans, but you have been exceeding that for quite a while now, thanks to resolutions of this board to help employees manage that extraordinary additional cost. Ma'am,
Is that 457 managed by MERS or an outside vendor?
through MERS,
Okay.
through MERS.
No choice there.
No, no. It's the easiest way for us to be able to accomplish this matching mechanism that the parties were wanting to work on. Otherwise, there is not a way for us to have like optional, how much do I put into my defined contribution as an employee? It's a little different in that way than your 401k where
Can
you
you-
can make your choices
Can you
about
move
it.
the 457 to somewhere else at any time, or only, never?
Their
It's there.
457 will be through MERS, and they
Okay.
will be subject to the MERS plan document.
Okay.
These contributions will be based on gross wages, which is a difference from non-union. Non-union are on base wage, but this is also fairly consistent with what you see across the public safety side of pension plans. So whatever they get paid, we're going to pay, again, minimums, 5% toward that. Maximum from the township would be 11% total. They will have the same retirement age as they have had and as the non-union have at 55, and it will be a 5-year vesting for those news. So I bring this first to you on the new hire piece because I would like to do a couple of things. First is to acknowledge on behalf of at least the bargaining team, and I think on behalf of you, the work that the patrol and command unit did to put this on the table and say, we're willing to be part of a solution to address your unfunded liability. That is a significant move. I don't know that we fully anticipated that was an option, and we were grateful for that collaboration. It allowed us to make a couple of different position changes on what does remain regarding the defined benefit pension. So that does mean that effective September 1, any new hires we have in the police department that are in those units will have a defined contribution plan just like your, conceptually, just like your non-union staff do now. Ma'am?
Short question. Can they change from one every year or at all?
Their election is on the 457 side. So if they today say, I want to put in 6%.
You can do it today? Okay.
Yes, and if I, next week, again, subject to MERS and how quickly their
Yeah,
administrative process happens, they go, just kidding, kid's going off to college, I would like to keep that extra 6%.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
fine. The only
questioned.
thing no one can ever change is at least 5% from both parties.
Yeah.
The other component of this letter of agreement, you'll see at item 2, there is what is happening with those who currently are employed at the township in these 2 units in the defined benefit pension plan. We are making adjustments to that plan. It will not be exactly the same as it has been, and as we have discussed many times, it is a very expensive plan. The cost continues to just skyrocket, and the employees frankly have been bearing a whole lot of that weight. So moving forward, as of September 1, they will have a moderate adjustment to their the multiplier that goes into, those of you that attended a training, remember there's a formula to calculate what the benefit is. It's my multiplier times how many years I worked times what my final average compensation was, gives me how much I will make on an annual basis. We are slightly modifying that down from 2.5% to 2.25, which was a compromise position by the parties. But importantly, it is removing something called the COLA in the MERS plan document, which is an extremely expensive add-on to the plan that had previously been allowing for continual cost of living increases even after someone has retired. Meaning right now you are trying to anticipate how much cost of living increase will be allocated in 10, 15, 20 years, which is why your plan has gotten so expensive in the last 20 years since that was added, because it is an extraordinary thing to try to pay now for costs that are going to continue to accumulate 20, 30 years down the line. This is another, again, I would like to acknowledge the POLC has made a big move by putting that on the table to remove that benefit from their pension. It, as you can see, or have probably heard me talk about at length, that has a significant impact immediately for you on your overall plan. It has an extraordinary benefit, even just in making that change. Even if you had not done anything with these new hires, that immediately increases the funding level from its current position by 2.2%, like overnight. You haven't been able to do that by making the main payments over the course of time through the last 3 years. Your funding level keeps going down despite doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So this is a great and helpful change to the parties, because the better funded the plan is, usually the costs associated will come down over time. So this is an extraordinary benefit. Even if we had made no additional adjustments to the cost sharing, which I'll talk about, this would have had a tremendous impact just to the employees. It would have dropped their contribution under how we currently do it, about 8.5% from what it is right now. So keeping more money of their own paycheck in their pocket without any further changes. But as a continued compromise position, the parties also worked out a cost-sharing agreement, which we detailed for you in the letter. It is based on what is the total contribution required of the township. At a particular threshold, we'll have an equal share. If it goes above that, the township takes the first chunk until it hits a total of 15% from the township, after which the employees will take additional sums, and then it kind of kicks back to the township. This is the party's way of trying to recognize that there's probably going to be some ebb and flow on how that comes, but there's a recognition also that we are having an immediate impact, immediate drop in total costs required under all of the MERS reports that they've provided to us. With the ongoing goal and expectation, I will say, not just a goal, but an expectation that that total cost, that total percentage of cost, will continue to drop. The plan is modified and bridged already. You won't be putting new hires in there. And again, that bridge and change that you have made to the plan is a significant change. It is a significant benefit to allow both parties to keep more of their money in their pocket to do what they want to do. The township's still staying in at its current amount, not like we're getting off scot-free. But it is an extraordinary benefit, and again, kudos to the POLC labor representative who championed this cost-sharing concept on behalf of the units. Again, coming forward with what I thought was a reasonable and compromise position, instead of what happens sometimes when we talk about these things at the bargaining table, which is, I'm gonna stay in my corner and you stay in yours, and we'll throw stuff at each other and see who throws the biggest tomato. It has not been that process. And then lastly, the third item is just a note that there's a recognition, as you may all recall from the non-union discussion, that after a period of time, we actually can offer to current employees who are in the defined benefit plan the option to take whatever funds that has been put in there by us or by them and move them into that 401k style plan. So basically choosing to opt out of the defined benefit completely, take their money, put it in the 401 plan, and run with it as they choose according to their MERS options. That tends to be very desirable for folks maybe who just recently joined the force and are seeing sort of the long-term process for their career. I expect it's also true that there would be some non-union staff interested in that, and so this letter of agreement preserves the rights of the parties to have that conversation, and at a time that seems appropriate and reasonable under very complicated IRS and CODA rules that I don't want to talk about, we would be allowed to make that an option and not be perceived as sort of like waving a cute little flag over here to make them remove things from liability for us. So a lot of Lizzie talking, a lot of words, but wanted to give you a chance to kind of hear the big picture discussion, and then I will certainly take additional questions.
You said it would be the mandatory 5% by both parties forever, but that would really only be under this contract and until they might convert it, right?
The 5% is only through the defined contribution, folks, so there won't be a conversion piece related to that, because it's what the defined contribution is, would be the bucket you dump things into. Okay. Yes, contribution amounts are always subject to negotiation, except MERS does not allow, once we set it at 5% employer, 5% employee, I can't make additional changes to that without now having, let's say, in 5 years, new hires after 2030 will have this defined contribution plan that would be different. That's why we established that 457 as the adder, because that can be where adjustments go. I do believe that MERS would allow the township's sum to change, but not the employee's element, if that makes sense. So I would imagine it would be an ongoing point of conversation if they get to a place where they're saying, look, we live the life where we were paying a whole heck of a lot toward our retirement. We're going to live a little bit differently now, where we get to keep more of our paycheck to pay for bread and eggs and everything else. But could there come a time at negotiations where they look to address that? Absolutely. That would be subject to the regular bargaining rules.
Good.
Yeah.
Other, right?
Do you feel that this agreement is a good agreement between the two
I genuinely do, and I'm not just blowing smoke because Mr. Eager is in the room. I can tell you, I have negotiated, we won't talk about how many different contracts where I have to take the hard position on behalf of the employer to move from a pension to a 401, or to even make changes to the pension itself. Those are usually knockdown, drag out, very difficult discussions where both parties just are too stuck. And that was absolutely not the case here. The township came forward with, we want to be reasonable, we want to respect the promise, but we have to do something. And also, I think the POLC appreciated that the township recognized it's not good for employees to be paying 25, 26, 27, 28% of their paycheck toward their pension. And so I think those things combined with, again, really good faith effort and a lot of education on the front end really led to a good deal.
Good. And the union feels that this is a good,
They have already
Agreement as
ratified,
well?
I'll speak, they have already ratified this, I think this week. So it has been approved by both units.
good. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to hear.
This was for the fire and police.
No, ma'am.
Just police, okay.
Well, I want to thank the unions for being such good partners in this negotiation. Rarely do we find situations like this that are win-win, and I feel like this is a win-win. Everyone is gonna save money over time, everyone's future is gonna be protected, including the taxpayers of the community. And thanks to you both for leading in this. I was able to watch you both do some of this in a car ride, and it was very fascinating to learn.
Yeah, after working at Motor Wheel for a long time and going through really terrible negotiations, I'm very happy to see this.
Looks great. Choices.
All right, oh, go ahead, Kate.
What, is there a plan for training? Like, an information session for employees to learn how their new, contract and MERS system is gonna work? Or is that on the union to do that?
So I assume that the union will do whatever communication they think is appropriate, but I also am under the, we'll say impression, not a certain thing, but under the impression that there have been a lot of very fruitful conversations about what, they would not have come forward with certain proposals had they not understood what they were doing. I also expect that there will be a lot of communication as we roll this out, because we're in the month of September when we've had it start. So there will be a lot of adjustments to be made in this first month as we're figuring out what needs to come out of whose pay at what time and working on those things. But there's also always, I think everybody knows this, but I'll say it out loud again, that MERS has all kinds of like tutorial videos also accessible online if people prefer sort of that individualized learning. And I'm absolutely certain, and I will say it for you, that I know if there is a desire for on-site or additional training, that we would absolutely make that happen.
Have we done training for the non-union employees?
So we had a session where we sat and talked about the changes. We need to schedule MERS to come in and do some more education. But I'll tell you, the complexity of the DC is very different, and people have been off and running. We are still seeing the implementation of that plan because we are always a month behind in our contributions. So obviously in August, in September, we make those contributions for August. So some of our employees have not even seen their 457 hit their accounts yet. So it's still being implemented. I know people are already pulling the triggers and investing their own money. So I do know people are off and running and seem to be very happy with what's occurring.
But it's still something to do.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? So we'll move this forward to the next agenda then for
Correct.
action? And is that including A, B, and C, or are we individually talking about each?
We can, the others are the agreements, and we'd be happy to do that, and plan to do that here, but yes, it's all of them.
B and C are what we need to do with MERS in order
MERS.
to effectuate the letter of agreement if the letter of agreement is approved. So, we can talk further if there are questions about those documents, but I would say that I sort of consider them all one.
Yeah,
one
it feels
Oh,
like
okay.
you've briefed us on
So
all,
it's-
unless
it's
folks
the-
feel differently.
It's the
You asked the
triggers that
question I
need to
was gonna ask.
occur based on the letter of agreement.
Great. Any questions on the other two documents while we're there then? I don't wanna speed anybody past if they're interested.
No.
All right, well, we'll see this back on our agenda in 10 days, a week. I've lost all sense of time since we're doing this special meeting.
Mr.
Soon.
Supervisor, I would also just add, if folks let things sink in and questions develop. Certainly happy to address those questions. As I mentioned, I will not be able to attend the meeting on Monday, the 15th. And so if there's something I can do in advance to help that process, I will certainly do that.
Will you be sending someone in your stead?
We will not. We have a firm thing that we cannot send anybody away from. It is a required event.
Could we change our date?
I would not recommend.
Is it a party or something? We don't-
You didn't get invited.
I've heard we're your best client.
You're one of my favorites.
All right, well, I'll talk later about an invitation.
Okay.
That brings us to old business B, items for action. The first up is the fire chief employment agreement. Karen.
Thank you. We have Mr. Kunter available here to us today. Yesterday, you'll recall, hopefully you all saw, I sent out questions that Mr. Kunter had answered while we were interviewing him for fire chief. You are welcome to, we'll have him come to the podium. And you are allowed to ask him, not allowed, but you are, if you choose to, you can ask him questions and, of those that we've either asked before or questions of your own. But I would invite him to come to the podium and tell us a little bit about himself, if that's okay with you, Mr. Supervisor.
Yeah, could I just add a comment?
You can.
As a person who was in on the interviews, we had a great candidate who, as most of us know on the board, turned down our very fair and reasonable offer for his own personal reasons. And it was sort of frustrating to those of us in the hiring committee about what we wanted to do next. And then this candidate sort of landed in our lap. It was like, ask and ye shall receive. He was everything that we needed. He had all the traits that we needed. So, you know, it's a good example of what is meant to happen will happen. So, as a member of the hiring committee, I was thrilled to have you on our team, or will be thrilled.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate that.
Take it away.
Afternoon. My name is Mark Quinter. I've been in the fire service since 1993. Don't do the math on how old that makes me. I started off in Lynchburg as a volunteer as I was going through school for criminal justice. Got my gear on December 23rd at noon. By 4 o'clock, I was inside a house fire. And that was it. That was a newfound passion that I have not let go of yet. Finished up my degree at MSU. I've got a 4-year degree in criminal justice. I've been a paramedic for 28 years. Recently retired from the city of East Lansing, just south of here. Many of you guys are familiar with. I retired as a deputy chief. I spent 4 years in that role. Just over 26 years total. As you can imagine, I've experienced quite a bit with the calls that I've experienced there. I've attended a lot of trainings, a lot of leadership seminars. I was one of 1% of fire officers across the nation who have been selected to attend the National Fire Academy. I went up to Amherstburg, Maryland, and attended the fire academy out there for officers. I have plenty of experiences that you guys are welcome to ask me about, but I think probably one of my strongest attributes is going to be my communication skills and my ability to relate with the other people in the fire department. When I got promoted to DC, I really had a struggle adjusting. It was more administrative. It was not what I signed up for, you know. Get dirty, do the work, be that guy. Not this sit behind the desk and take care of the discipline. But I learned pretty early on that I worked for them, that my style was working, and really got some very kind words after my retirement about being the DC that those guys wanted to work for. And to me, there can be not a bigger compliment. I really did stumble on this by word of mouth. Somebody said, "Hey, are you interested in being a chief? Absolutely not. I'll be honest, I was really looking forward to being retired. I'm an outdoorsman. I want to be out with my dogs. I want to be out fishing. I want to be out hunting. And I happened to sit down with your current chief, Mr. Z, and sat down in the office, talked to him for a couple hours, kind of toured the station, kind of met some of the guys, kind of got a feel for what hurdles are going to be in front of me. And I found that I was incredibly excited about taking on a role like this. The more I thought about it, the more I got in contact with Superintendent Hildebrand, sat down for what I thought was going to be a discussion. Ended up being an interview that honestly I think was 50-50 as far as them interviewing me and me seeing if I was going to be the right fit for this position. Like I said, I was retired and happy to be retired. My plan was to teach at a fire academy this winter. But after a lot of questions and grilling them as much as they grilled me, I walked away again thinking this could be a really good fit. And I was very excited to be here today. So,
Do you live in Bath?
I live just out of Bath. I'm up in Lynchburg.
I have a Langsburg address.
It's close to you, actually.
All right. I'm up on Peacock Road.
Okay. I'm just
Lynchburg.
on Round Lake.
Other questions?
Well, one more. After reading this, you got a job in front of you. And
I do realize that. I
that
do
was
realize that.
amazing to read. I read every word of it twice. And it's incredible that what we need is somebody that sounds like what you are.
Correct.
Thank you.
Other questions? Well, great. Does someone want to take action on this tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve the fire chief employment agreement as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to
Third.
approve the fire chief employment agreement in front of us, and a third. Is there any other discussion or questions, concerns? Anything from the contract you think we need to know especially about here?
Not at this time. So I went over that with you at the last meeting. Certainly if there are questions, I'm able to answer them, or Lizzie is able to answer them. And even if they come after the meeting, we'd be happy to go through those as well.
But it fits within the family
Correct.
of contracts that we are
It
typically
does.
doing.
It does. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments, questions then? All right, you want to do a roll call vote?
Sure. Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. We have a new fire chief, so I'm going to call this meeting to a recess so we can swear at you, swear you in. The swearing at you will come later. All right, we're adjourned for a moment. Take it away, team.
Is that,
You can shut it off, yeah. I said, you can shut it off.
I do.
When we're back in session. Yeah.
Like the baseball and fire.
Absolutely.
slide
Jennifer, is there a game tonight?
Yes, we're in Dansville.
In Danville.
Yeah. So I have my bath gear on.
That's what I
was just thinking. I had a sweatshirt on, but it kind of got hot. And I was like, it's easier if I put a sweater.
I only put the home games on the calendar because Evan's in band.
We're in Dansville tonight.
Asking me why? Oh, on the camera. Oh, okay. I'm Joe.
I didn't understand all that.
I'm Joe. I've been here since 2019. Sorry. It's okay. No, I just promoted it, so I'm just interim until they decide if they want to keep me or not as a captain. So, thank you.
Oh, it's almost tax day, isn't it? I wondered why everybody kept coming in.
Yeah, 15th. 14th.
No, 15. A Monday, right?
It's the fitty boards.
All right, are we all set with photos and things?
Well, I still have some, but Ben is talking.
Okay. I'm going to reconvene the meeting back into session, and as part of the swearing in, invite our former interim chief, current lead of our DPW, up for a few words. Ben.
Actually, I'd like to have everybody else come up with me, including Mark. Fall here. So I prepared a few words. Again, I'm Ben Zeeb, interim fire chief here. Today marks a significant and meaningful moment for the Bath Township Fire Department and the community that we serve. It's a day of transition, reflection, and great pride. It's been my honor to serve this department as a firefighter in the past from 2010 to 2021, and in recent months as interim fire chief. Over the years, I've witnessed remarkable courage, tireless dedication, and a special bond of brothers and sisters among our ranks that are only found in the fire service. I'd like to say thank you to the Township for giving me the opportunity to carry this department into the next chapter. It's been a challenge, but I think that we've made great strides in the right direction. I'd like to also thank my family who isn't here. We were planning on being a Tuesday night. But they are the backbone of who I am and the motivation for me to be a better person each day. And my brothers and sisters here standing with us and that weren't able to make the meeting, for trusting me to keep our department moving in the right direction while we search for our new leader. It's through them and our families that allow us to serve this community. They are the heart and spirit of our fire department, so thank you to all of you. Leadership isn't about holding on. It's about building each other up and knowing when it's time to pass the torch to the next capable hands. Today, I'm proud to pass the 601 badge to Chief Gunter, who has proudly served our neighbors in East Lansing for 26 years and Langsburg for 7. This badge is more than just a symbol of authority. It is a symbol of responsibility, sacrifice, and trust. It represents the lives that you will lead, the calls that you will answer, and the legacy you now care for. With this badge comes the weight of leadership, but also honor. In the early days of organized firefighting, before modern communications and radios, officers used brass speaking bugles to give orders on the fire ground. The louder the voice, the clearer the direction, the greater of chance of coordinated success and survival. Over time, the bugle became a symbol of rank and leadership, worn not as decoration, and not only as decoration, but as a reminder of the voice that comes direction. With voice comes direction, and direction comes responsibility. Today, the badge you receive comes not with just a title, but with a legacy of the bugles who stood before you and spoke with great courage and clarity. On behalf of this fire department and all those who came before us, I proudly present you with the badge of Fire Chief. May you wear it with honor, lead with integrity, and continue to serve with the heart of a firefighter. Congratulations, Chief Coons. And your new shiny white helmet. Again, thank you for the opportunity to lead this department, and I'm excited for what this department has ahead of us.
Thank you. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. You got some work to do. Like right now. All right, so are you set, Taylor? Yep. Great. Karen, you're set?
I am. If I could just make, I can't extend enough gratitude to Mr. Zeeb for the challenge that he took on back in April. It lasted much longer, I'm sure, than he thought it would. But he served each and every day with the same words that he just spoke about Mr. Kunter, with integrity, with honor, and I'm very proud of him. He's probably one of the people that I trust the most, next to the person that's sitting behind me, and is there ready to take on any challenges. And I will be bringing to you a resolution to honor him and his family at a time when they can be here, because I think it's important to acknowledge the service that he's given to us, that he will continue to give to us, and that his family gave to us during this time. So, thank you, Ben.
Thank you, well put.
Thank you.
That brings us to item C, a rezoning request. I'm sure as exciting as that last topic, Miles. You want to walk us through that?
This is like really boring considering what just happened. So this was introduced before, if everyone recalls. The site for this rezoning request is in the Chandler Road area. It is on a private drive that is just off of Chandler Road. Prior to my time here at the township, I believe it was like around 2018, a series of parcels adjacent and connected to the two parcels that are being requested for rezoning tonight were also rezoned from the zoning district of rural to medium density residential. So the two items that I laid out last time that planners consider when we're talking about a rezoning is, one, is it in conformity with the currently adopted future land use map? And secondly, are we engaging in the act of spot zoning? The answer to the first factor was yes, this is in conformity with the currently adopted future land use map. The answer to the latter question of are we engaging in spot zoning is no. Spot zoning is a bad thing for people that aren't familiar with spot zoning. So from that perspective, the planning department recommended to the planning commission to approve the rezoning request. The planning commission agreed and passed a recommendation unanimously that the board honor the rezoning request for the two parcels before you tonight. Any questions?
How many units? I forgot.
There was one dwelling unit on the two parcels. So there was a larger parcel that's currently vacant, and then a smaller parcel that currently has one single family home.
Miles, the parcel that's right off Chandler that is sort of surrounded, is that the same owner?
It is the same owner of the two parcels, yes.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Other questions, thoughts for Miles? If not, does someone want to take action on this tonight?
You want me to read it just like that?
That's the recommended.
I would like to recommend the approval of the rezoning request for parcel numbers as stated on our letter here. I'm not gonna say all those. From rural zoning district to the proposed medium density residential zoning district.
I'll second
That's
it.
a mouthful.
You handled it well, thank you. So we have a motion and a second to approve the rezoning request. Are there other questions, concerns, thoughts to share?
Thoughts is, thank you, Miles.
Hearing no more, we'll do another roll call.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kaki?
Yes.
Thank you.
That motion carries. That brings us to item D, the final item for action, ACD.net Metro Act extension. Superintendent, do you want to talk us through that?
Thank you. I realized I didn't follow up with Mr. Patterson, a colleague of yours. Were there any concerns from him regarding? Okay, so as of the last meeting, he was okay with us moving forward and was not concerned about any of the items contained in the permit extension.
This expired back in April. What's been happening in the meantime?
They've been waiting patiently.
But there's not like,
There hasn't been
nothing
any-
was prevented, there's not
Correct, there has
money
not
being
been
held
any
up.
work or anything that's been prevented as a result.
All right, are there questions or interest in moving this forward?
I'll make a motion for the Metro Act right-of-way permit extension.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the extension as it's been presented tonight. Is there any other discussion, questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, we'll go to another roll call vote.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kaki?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
That motion carries. That brings us to item 7, new business. Our item for introduction discussion. Our favorite time of year just started in September 1st, budget time.
It is.
Tell us about the budget recommendation and we've already voted on a process, but you want to walk
Correct.
us through?
Yes, so I appreciate, there have been questions. Some of you have reached out with your questions and covered the budget with me. And I appreciate the opportunity to do that with you, and will also do so going forward if you have any additional questions before this matter is taken up before the Finance Committee. As the supervisor indicated, you have voted as a board to let the Finance Committee take a good working start on this budget and bring it back to you upon the completion of that review. And I do think it's a stronger process as we do that. And I feel that we started that process last year and it's worked really well. So I look forward to that process again this year. So as the memo stated that came out with the budget, and I'm just going to recap that for you here this afternoon. The general fund revenue is estimated at almost $4.4 million this year, which is actually a small increase over last year of $187,000 approximately. So not a lot of new revenue coming in, but a little bit of an increase there. So that is an area that I encourage, I'll talk to the Finance Committee about, and I'm sure we'll all be talking about as we move through the rest of 2025 and into 26, is that we're going to have some serious conversations about revenue for the township, for police and fire, in addition to the increase that we had in the millage recently. There are lots of ways that we can increase revenue, but it's a conversation that we need to have in light of the strategic plan and some of the priorities that you've set as that comes back to you. That was my guiding document as I moved through this process this year. And I'll cover the items that were not funded, but I believe it was almost 1.4 million of items that were not funded. The general fund is an area where I kept the increases, as you can see on the next page of the memo, to a minimum. Spending in the general fund is estimated at 3.2 million. So almost $1.2 million under budget in that area. This is significant, but all of that money will be needed for police and fire. And that continues to be something you've seen over the last few years, and you'll continue to see until we have those conversations about revenue. 9.8% spending increase for the police department. 106% increase in the fire department, and that is due to an aging fleet and needed equipment. and some additional staffing that is critically needed there. And we'll hear from the gentleman that did the fire department assessment in October when they come to see us. They couldn't be with us today, but I also used their document as a guiding document for me to help improve the fire department and its budget.
Man, this new chief is expensive already.
Karen, can I ask a question?
You can, please.
That 106%, what would you say is the brunt of that increase?
Equipment maintenance, I would say benefits and staffing, and then potential increases in apparatus that are gonna be needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even without funding some of the items, it was still equipment and apparatus.
Yeah, I know we should start saving for those new fire trucks.
Last 10 years ago?
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw in that report was a description of not entirely spending the budget year after year after year.
Correct.
So when there is that surplus remaining, what happens to that
So because
historically?
public safety lives in its own fund, the money stays with police and fire. In the past, it's probably gone directly to funding the police department.
Okay,
Yeah, so that money sits almost like in a savings account in that fund, and then is used before any other money, before any transfers from the general fund or general fund balance, that money is used first. So that is usually taking up the deficit, and then we transfer additional monies in.
okay.
Okay. On page 2, as I referenced in the general fund, not to bounce back and forth, but you can see minor increases. I think one of the larger increases is due to elections, midterm elections next year, is taking up over $50,000. Building and grounds, that is due to aging properties, buildings, and vehicles as well. But most of the other ones are anywhere from a couple of $1,000s to $12,000, I think is maybe the largest one. But minimal increases in the general fund. And you can see over last year, it's $158,000 less than we spent in the general fund last year. Any questions on the departments in the general fund? So then moving on again to public safety, I added information that I didn't include last year, but I found it helpful as I was moving through the budget and thought you would find it helpful as well. The spending for 25 and the recommended spending for 26 is there for both police and fire, for a total of almost $3.9 million. As you can see on the top of the next page, you are bringing in about $2.4 million in the millage. And with the increase of the transfer in from the general fund, that's another almost 1.5 million for a total of almost 3.9 million to offset the expenditures in those two departments. Any questions about police and fire? Moving on, I outlined several areas that have to do mostly with employees, staffing. I do recommend in the coming year that we do a class and compensation study. We had a resident reach out who's familiar with several class and compensation studies that have been done in the area. We will, of course, work to obtain that information and not duplicate anything. DeWitt did one last year, I believe, class and comp study that was very helpful. We're actually, when we go out to request for qualifications, I anticipate Double Hall will bid on our work as well, and we would benefit from some of the work that they've done in the past. I would like to point out class and compensation studies are not a one-size-fits-all. We have different positions here, and the way that we put responsibilities on those positions is much different, and the deputy clerk here may be very different than the deputy clerk over there, even though much of it is statutory. The planner provided some comps for me as well this year And we don't generally have, a planner here is not the same as a planner in DeWitt Township or Delta Township even, so.
Our
what-
planner's not like any planner.
That is correct. He is not. He's a very special guy. So I would like to point out that we will do that work in the coming year if that's something that this board is interested in doing. But again, we will do our due diligence to make sure that we are not duplicating any work that's been done in other areas, and will hopefully benefit from some of that work that's been done by our neighbors. Obviously, MERS is an area, having just moved the non-union to the DC, and then having approval anticipated at the next meeting for the union negotiations that have taken place will have a big impact on the budget as well. And as the legal counsel has reminded you in the past, while there may be some short-term savings, we still have those liabilities that exist in those plans, and we'll most likely be looking at making some contributions to those as we move forward to bring some of that down. Insurance, as always, is a very interesting world. As you may be aware, our insurance plan will be changing because the U of M insurance that we currently have that replaced the PHP insurance is coming to an end, and we are hard at work. The deputy superintendent and I have met with a provider that will be looking at options, but of course those are not available to us until October. We have provided him with our census so that he may be able to start taking a look at what we can replace our current plan with. And of course, legal counsel and I will be having those discussions with the union as well. Union contracts, the road patrol contract and the supervisory union contract are up at the end of this year. We'll be moving to those and begin work on those as soon as we're done with the MERS contracts with those labor unions. And I anticipate that will hopefully be a good process as well for all of us. New positions, I did recommend 2 new positions in this budget, and both were in public safety. We are looking at adding a 3rd sergeant in the police department, which will help with coverage and making sure that we're not leaving anybody uncovered without leadership or coverage on the road. And the second one that I've recommended is an administrative assistant position that I hope will be able to also be a licensed EMT firefighter in the fire department, because I think that one of the areas that we're severely lacking at this point is the professional side of payroll, reporting, and just maintaining training records and a plethora of things that I think the new chief coming from East Lansing will be moving us in the right direction with a lot of those things, record keeping, and I think that he will need assistance. Interim Chief Zeeb told me that he could spend his entire week entering reports, and I don't think that that is how any of us would like the new chief to spend his time, and therefore is going to need assistance with some of that work. Elections, as I mentioned, the 2026 year will contain midterm elections, and as you know, those are much more complicated, so that's an area that we'll be focusing on next year, not just an increase in spending, but also an increase in work for many of our people and our election workers. At the bottom of that page, I outlined for you new programs or special projects that have been included in this budget for 2026. The first item being a facilities and grounds assessment. As you worked through your strategic plan, we did talk about our aging facilities and the fact that we're very much running out of space. We would like to hire a consultant to come in and consult on that, how we're utilizing our buildings, the age of our buildings, the ongoing maintenance of those buildings, and what we can do in the future to plan for more space. And that may include, kind of in my wish list would be a combined, possibly public safety building for police and fire. And of course, that would need to be designed by somebody with that expertise, along with our police and fire departments. But those are the things that we can dream about until somebody comes in and tells us what's really going on with what we have and what we need to do to move forward with the repair and maintenance, as well as possibly constructing some new buildings. The class and compensation survey I mentioned already. The supervisor sent a memo, which I believe all of you saw, talking about committee and volunteer recognition, as well as some committee training for next year, which I think are great ideas. We've done them in the past, and I think we should move back towards doing those in the future again. So I was happy to include those. He also recommended us having the board, planning for the board to attend an MTA training altogether, a conference. And I think that's a great idea as well, and I hope that you'll agree with that. One of the items that I was excited to see in his recommendation was an art project for the memorial, the 100-year memorial that's coming up as the Bath School bombing. $25,000 for that, and I'm excited for us to plan that and work with the museum committee to bring that to fruition. In the police department, specifically, the department, just as we did an assessment of fire, I would like to do so, and the chief and I have spoken and would like to do an assessment of that department as well. There is also the $10,000 donation for the special operations team that we have committed to in the past and hope will continue to do so. And something new in the fire department that interim Chief Zeeb brought forward was a fitness test bonus that I think is a good idea. I don't think we spend as much time thinking about the physical fitness of our firefighters and our EMTs, and I think it would help us to reduce injuries and as well as cut down on, I'm sorry, I just completely lost my train of thought. Would reduce injuries is the main reason that we would do that, but the police department started that in their last contract, and I think it's been a great idea, and I think it's been a popular idea, and I think it's always great if we can focus on the safety and health and well-being of our employees. The next, moving down the page, maintenance, repairs, and improvements. You will note significant projects, including vehicles and equipment in the township offices. I'm not going to go through those specifically unless you have any questions, but we had the township offices. The general township includes some memorial trees for former clerk McQueen, who passed away, and former trustee Benzie, who passed away. Great idea from the supervisor as well, in addition to the regular maintenance and repairs. The Park Lake, Friends of Park Lake, as well as the Park Lake Advisory Board, asked for an increase in the weed treatment of Park Lake and the geese deterrent program. So that moved from $30,000 to $40,000, which I think is important for us to focus on the health of our lake. The police department, I would offer that a new contract will be coming forward for you to review, which includes new tasers, body-worn cameras, dash cams, for a total of about $33,000 annually. I think that's important for us, for the safety of our officers and for the safety of people in general, yes. Soundproofing the interview room, a wellness application that focuses on the mental health and the physical wellness of our officers is important. Winter raincoats, additional riot gear and vests, and then new speed signs, all important asks. The fire department, you'll see their list is quite extensive. You have a fire gear washing machine that helps reduce the contaminants in their gear. Furnace AC replacement is aging in that building and unfortunately was coming close to the end of its life. Some landscaping, some garage door remotes, working on some broken concrete, portable radios, turnout gear, Scott air packs, and potentially a brush truck. All very big asks and very important to the ongoing operations of that department. Infrastructure projects include both planning, continued planning for Chandler Road in 2027, and then the Webster Road sewer lining and manhole repair. That project will also come to you very soon to take a look at spending some fund balance that we have in the sewer fund for that project, so that will be coming to you. As I mentioned, not funded in this budget, $1.4 million plus in strategic planning implementation, the replacement of the DPW van, which is a 2007 while important, I had to balance that with all of the asks and unfortunately put that on the list of things that we probably could not accomplish unless you're interested in using fund balance. So we'll have those conversations as we move forward. But cameras at Wiswasser Park, also on that list. Road improvements, I did fund $350,000 in road improvements, but this is usually put more into that area, and I cut it by $250,000.
Is this the off year for us for the roads?
Oh, in terms of the crack ceiling, yes. So we did a lot of that this year. So yes, it'll be the
So
off
that
year
helps
for that.
bring it down.
It does bring it down a little bit. An area that you were focused on as a board in the strategic plan included the economic development and hiring a person to work in that area specifically and focus on economic development. I was not able to fund that in terms of the amount of asks, and that, of course, can be up to the finance committee and up to this board to move things around and make some changes in the budget in order to do that, because that is a priority that you laid out. I was also hoping to add an assistant planner this year. That department unfortunately needs additional help, and we're gonna have to figure out ways to fund those if that's something that you desire to move forward.
You answered my question.
In the PD, specifically flat cameras, is a license plate reader that we were hoping, a program that we were hoping to launch this year. I did want to get it on your radar because I think that one of the areas that you desired was for the chief to take us into the future and start planning for that. This is one of those areas that he brought to the table, I think is a great idea. But again, we'll have to take a look at what the current spending is and if that's something you want to implement. Chief also asked for $30,000 to set aside for a vehicle replacement for next year. Set aside at this point was not possible with the amount of actual spending that was needed this year, so that was cut as well. 4 additional firefighters, we currently are, had 2, we're hiring 2 more. We just had someone recently resign, we'll be backfilling his position. The new chief and I will be working together to plan for the future as well as the fire department assessment, to make sure that we have adequate coverage for both day and night. And then adding a fire department administrative assistant will also help with the daytime coverage, as well as the other positions such as the ordinance compliance officers, also the fire inspector. So there are people that are working during the day that can get away and help with priority calls when the full-time people can't do that, but we definitely need to add and up that coverage for them. An item that was mentioned to the board when we met with Rich Mariucci and Greg Flynn was the fire department exhaust ventilation system for the diesel at $100,000. That's also on my do not fund. While critically needed and needs to be funded, we need to have some serious conversations about how and when we do that. So that will be important as well.
Is that something that like the power plan grant would cover?
Power plan grants are unfortunately very minimal. I think they're less than $10,000. So you're not gonna get a lot in terms of.
It seems like an insurance-y type of protection thing.
Yeah. But we could probably also pursue some grants for that. I'm just not aware what grants would cover that, so we'll have to look into that.
It's dangerous for anybody in there.
Correct, it is, and if we have the hopes of having sleeping quarters and having people in that building 24/7, then of course we will need to take a look at that for their health and safety. As well as fire department vehicle replacement. So I think we all are aware that quite extensive vehicle replacement is needed at the tune of probably 1.5 if we're looking at a serious number. Unfortunately, vehicles are probably 2 to 3 years out. Even if we spec'd it now and paid for it now, we'd be waiting a couple of years for a vehicle. There is an alternative that Interim Chief Zeeb and Fire Chief Kunter have talked about, which would be speccing not a commercial chassis, but a standard chassis. And I think that proposal will be brought to you soon at a more reasonable cost of approximately $550,000. And there's an opportunity here, I think, to use some fund balance for the purchase of a vehicle like that, as well as a brush vehicle. and would help us kind of realign our fleet and sell off some other vehicles that we're currently not using or are not right or right-sized for the type of operations that we're executing right now. So a lot goes into this, and I thank my staff for the thought that they put into it. I thank you for your work on the strategic plan, which was valuable in helping me align priorities and spending. It's never a perfect thing. I think our staff recognizes, I've had some meetings this week already with people talking about what was not funded in my recommendation and why, which are important conversations to have. When people are telling you they need things and you're not funding them, you have to have that conversation of why it isn't occurring. So the work is by no means done. My work will be reviewed by the finance committee and will be changed, I anticipate, as it was in the past, and then changed again when it gets here. So we still have a long ways to go, and it's hard work, but it's valuable work on behalf of the people we serve and our employees that work very hard for us. Do you have any questions? I know that was a lot of talking by Karen.
One
but-
little one that we might look into is the YMCA has the Silver Sneakers program, and I wonder if they would extend a program like that to our police and fire.
What is that?
Silver Sneakers is a free membership to YMCA in
Oh.
the whole Lansing area for certain groups of insurance companies, and whoever else they use, I don't know. But I think as a township, as a government entity, let's go after it.
Sure.
And it's free, so you
can-
guys can all have,
Yeah, we can look
it's
into that.
fantastic, you know, just.
They also have a gym downstairs, which many of our employees utilize.
This is a pool and
Oh,
everything, yeah.
cool. I don't have a
So,
pool.
I can ask, I'll go ask them, I know some managers over there, I'll ask about if an entity like us
Yeah,
could do that.
let us know what you
Cross.
find out. and
Blue
we'll-
Cross has, they call it,
Silver sneakers.
yeah, so that is
That's
Silver
for
Sneakers,
seniors.
but, yeah, I fit,
Yeah, me too.
but I don't have.
But
Blue Cross anymore.
we would be interested in anything that would help our people, and as I said, they all, many of our employees, union and non-union, fire,
Right.
all work out downstairs
Okay.
at varying times in the morning or afternoon, and even in the evening. There's also a gym in the fire department, but of course, I think we had that discussion about the diesel exhaust system, making that workout area safe and not full of the contaminants from the trucks. So there are some things that we need to address, but of course, there are alternatives that we can work through at this time. But there's a lot on our plate, a lot of challenges, but I'm confident, just as we have in the recent past of working through many of these challenges on behalf of our employees and our community, we can continue to work through these and find solutions for our people and the community. So I'm very hopeful.
I got one question. I don't see, unless I missed it, Eaton County ambulance.
You are correct.
Okay.
So there are a couple of items that are not in here, and I'll need to review that with the finance committee. The first payment in 2026 to Eaton County is not in here, as well as the emergency siren that we had planned for during ARPA, did not install. It was one of the items that the supervisor requested in his memo. And I'm sure that we will discover other things that are inevitably missed, not on purpose, but just this is a huge, complex process. And I just inevitably missed some things, so those will need to be revisited. Please.
About the fire trucks. It's a pretty big one.
It is.
As I understand, it takes, 2 to 3,
It
4
does,
years.
yes.
And also, I believe you probably would have to put half down when you order them, to get a firm order. But, I'm sure you've already thought about it, but bonding or sinking funds, something like that?
Yeah, so there are also lease programs available to
Right.
us, to do that as well. That is something that I think the treasurer started looking into at the time it was brought up by the fire department. And so she's probably more skilled than any of us
Yeah, you
at
don't have
what's
to put
available.
half down.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But
On some
we-
major products, you just.
yeah, we'll continue to have those discussions at the finance committee and have those discussions here. I don't want you to think that because something occurs at the finance committee, it doesn't make its way here. You'll be involved in those conversations. But it's one of the things that we have not done a good job is planning for the replacement of our apparatus.
Correct.
And I'm pretty sure that Ben and Mark and I are gonna have some conversations here about the current state of our equipment, the type of equipment, and what we need in the future. So there's more work, I think, to be done at the staff level and then finance committee and the board level.
And just, as old as the main fire trucks are, I just hate to see them, put a rod through the block or something.
On the way to a
Put
fire.
it down, yeah.
Or kill the guys if it rolls over because the
Well-
tires rotted off.
Well,
No, those
that's
are,
been
that,
taken
that's
care of, I
been,
think.
that's been solved.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we-
because,
solved that
but it
one.
got solved too late, and
Yeah.
I'd like to address, because everybody was different through all these years, and to allow that to happen, I can read a tire and say it's too old. 3 to 5 years is maximum for fire vehicles. And isn't it our fault? Isn't it our management of who's elected to make, how do we stop this from happening again?
Our predecessors.
Our
Yeah, I
predecessors.
think we as a team, and that includes staff too, need to shift into long-term planning.
Yeah, and that.
For
letting-
this and many other things.
Right, but that was just such a simple thing that I looked up the next day when I heard it, and I said, how did this happen? And so,
So
We
we
gotta
as,
plan that.
we as staff, Mark and I will work closer together. Matt, at the police department and I work very closely together. I don't think you're gonna see the same issues that we had in the
Right.
past. I can't say that for sure, but I can tell you that the people we have in place currently are committed to making sure
Good.
that we don't have those same issues
yeah,
moving forward.
that's good.
Which I think
Forevermore.
is our role, is to make sure that the staff involved is talented, experienced, and knows that we value these things
Or
and
a
keeps
backup,
up.
a backup person who says, is this being, did something bad happen again? And I wanted to throw in that's kind of related, is when we have this inspector come out to see how we can fix the firehouse with the fans and the doors and the sleeping rooms and, all this, the building structures, have him also examine this whole area.
He's gonna examine everything,
I
every.
mean, the senior center
every-
parking and all
every-
that. Okay, that's-
Every
Even you.
building.
Even me, okay, I'm leaving. But just so that,
Every
maybe
building.
there's a cheaper way to go.
This will be township wide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that maybe we should move everything, who knows? This building isn't big enough anymore.
Correct.
That's not big enough, so look at all options.
You don't wanna know the price tag that comes with
Well,
that.
we need to look at it.
I
We don't
think-
have to adopt it, but we need to look.
Correct, but I will note, Ben and I were at a meeting this past week, and Chief DeCourt of the DeWitt Township Fire Department was there. They just recently did, I would call it a substation, is that correct? 22,000 square feet,
It's pretty big.
$12 million.
beautiful.
That's the one right on Old 27?
It's on State Road in Old 27, that's
beautiful.
correct. So, yeah, the price tags are pretty hefty, and right now, we're just in that
No.
information gathering
Right.
phase so that we can bring that information to you all to have those conversations, so.
Well, I heard that there's a large estate in the northeast corner of the township that is being left to us in someone's will. Is that right, Sherry?
I don't think so.
Oh, I misunderstood that. We'll name the township building for you.
Yeah, okay, I get my name on it, all right. My large log cabin.
All right, thank you, Superintendent, for your hard work, and to your staff for pulling that
Yes,
together.
thank you.
I'm in the middle of doing the same for my work organization, and I know it's a heavy lift, so
It is.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
We've got no items for action under new business tonight. We are at public statement 2. This is an opportunity for the public to say anything about anything for up to 3 minutes. So if you'd like to state something to the board, please introduce yourself and have at it. Our clerk will keep track of your time. This will not be used as a time to engage in back and forth, but we'd love to hear what you have to say. Take it away, sir.
My name's Scott Eager. I'm with the Police Officers Labor Council. I represent both the command union and the patrol union. I was gonna address the letter of agreement. I really don't feel it's necessary. Lizzie did a great job of summarizing everything. Both units have ratified it after a lot of considerable consideration and sacrifice on their part, and recognizing on the township's part as well. What I actually did want to talk about is several weeks ago there was a critical incident here in the township involving 2 officers who actually are here tonight. This job comes with a lot of stress, and stress and trauma accumulates over time. And it's important, I think, for the community and the elected officials to recognize that fact and the actions that they took. These men responded to what initially was a moderate situation and quickly escalated into a hostage situation. And they responded quickly and decisively and brought it to a safe conclusion. So I just want to recognize them here if I can, Marcus and Jake. And I would hope on your behalf you guys would recognize them at some point as well.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board?
Brian Miller, police department, obviously. Scott stole my thunder. But first, the new fire chief, congratulations. Thank you to the township and the board. This pension stuff weighs heavy on our minds, and with the extremely difficult job we do, there's relief, I feel like, coming, so thank you. I really appreciate it. And for Marcus and Jake, I thought they were gonna hate me, maybe they'll hate Scott more for bringing this up, but yeah, I wanted to acknowledge them coming back. Again, such an extremely difficult job. And their situation I can only equate to almost 20 years ago. I was in combat in Fallujah, Iraq, and you know, when you move on from that, people want to know what it was like and what you go through, and you don't know until you're there. And that's something that these guys, and they're coming back to work now, it just shows their extreme bravery. So, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else in the public like to address the board tonight? All right, looks like no. So we'll switch to item 9, board member comments. It looks like I started with Sherry last week, so I'll start with Kate this week.
You could start in the middle sometime.
Yeah. This is historical. This is
It's always the ends, Kate.
cultural for us.
I would just like to go ahead and welcome Chief Kunter to our fire department. I'm really looking forward to what the future has in store for the township, and thank you to Ben for filling in. I think that that provided a lot of relief to all of us who are in charge of making these decisions, that we knew we were gonna have somebody that we could count on to fill in the meantime. So thank you for that. And second, what Mr. Eager and Officer Miller said about recognizing our police officers, I'm glad to see that they're back to work and thankful for that. And I definitely think that recognition is in order, and thank you for protecting us and our community.
Thanks, Kate. Brenda?
I'd like to say thank you to the police and fire department, actually all the departments in the township. We have a great team here. Everybody works well together. We all help each other out, and I think it's a true family.
Thanks, Brenda. I also want to thank our officers for their hard work and dangerous work. Big thanks to Ben for his hard work in the last several months, and a welcome to our new chief as well. We're growing this family with some really talented folks, and I am really excited to see what the township becomes as we grow in population and as we grow in expectation of that population of us to be a modern government serving their needs. I think we all can say we have moved toward that pretty significantly in the last few years, and we'll continue to do that. So I'm proud of the board for that as well. A few of you, at least on the board, heard that Karen and I went to some MTA training about 2 weeks ago. One was on running an effective meeting, and one was on sort of the legalese of HR. I thought they both were great. Certainly the HR one was more geared toward Karen than it was toward me, but I was telling Lizzie beforehand, who did this training, I learned some things for my day job as well. It was really good time used, and I'll say just one-on-one time or private time with Karen, just talking about the township and what we want to do together was also well worth it. So I hope you all will take advantage of some of the trainings that are coming up. I know there's a revenue training, which seems very timely for us. I know Jen signed up for that, I'm signed up for that. So would welcome folks to join us on that webinar. And then hopefully we can plan to all go to the MTA conference next year. I think that would be a good use of our time. So we'll get to the dates and the plan for that. I think it's in Traverse, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place too, so that's a win-win for us, and it's in April. As we have shifted our staff from the pension to the DC plan, we have shifted Karen in that plan as well. Her contract says she will have the pension, and so we're gonna need to crack that open to make that change. Karen has agreed to that, and we'll do that on the back end, and maybe fix some few other things in that contract. We're not renegotiating her contract, or at least that isn't the intent unless you all feel strongly about that. But we do need to make sure that her contract reflects what's actually happening. And then it's our favorite time of year for the annual review for Karen. Karen's favorite time of year. So I've worked with the clerk who has assigned that duty in the contract. We've agreed that I'll take that on again this year. So you'll be getting some information from me. I'm gonna start with Karen. By the contract, we have to agree on the elements of the review. So my plan, so you all know, is just to picture the same thing as last year and see the growth over time with the same measures, but happy to take feedback on all that. So watch your email for that. And then we have a strategic plan meeting scheduled. Taylor, when is that?
Next Friday. That is a week from today at 10 a.m. in this room.
Great, so, hope to see you all there. This will be our final strategic plan meeting. I talked to our facilitator, Larry Merrill. He's been very excited about the process. His work product so far has been really, exciting, and I think this is what we have been looking for, the structure, the format, the concepts of where we wanna go together. It's already helping the superintendent with budgeting, so I'm really happy that we're close to the end of this, project. So we would probably look to approve the plan at either the next board meeting or probably a board meeting in October, so that we can put our stake in the ground to move forward on the plan. So those are some of the things I'll be working on for us, on behalf of you all in the next couple of weeks.
My turn. Congratulations, Mark. Welcome to the township. Guys, thank you for your service. Thanks for putting your life in danger all the time. Let's see. Oh, taxes are due.
Real soon.
Really took a right turn.
I know I did. Back to my normal day job. Pay your taxes, they're due September 15th. There is still time for people to sign up for deferments if they qualify. We do not accept post-dated envelopes, so you have to make sure you get them to the township. Do not mail them. Make sure you bring it in. We have drop boxes. We have that issue every year. So I guess that's it for me.
Ray?
I just want to reiterate, thank you very much, officers, and welcome back to active duty. And that's pretty much it. I have some other thoughts, but I'll wait until the next meeting.
Keep us on pins and needles.
There you go, yeah.
Thanks, Ray. Sherry?
Welcome to our new chief, Mark, to the family of Bath. It's great, and thank you, sir, for your service, protecting us, ultimately putting your life in danger so often. And then I had a little grass issue. I don't know if this is a place to bring it up or not, but I've lived here for almost 50 years, and I've never seen the grass so bad around the corners of Clark Road where it goes to Peacock. It's so dangerous because it's blind. We can't see. I've missed cars by 10 feet.
We just need to call the road commission.
Call the road commission. Okay. And that's with the, is that county?
Yes.
Okay.
Mark Trotter.
Mark Trotter. Will do. Thank you.
Or get your weed whacker out.
Yeah.
Buzz
No,
the
my
corners.
tractor and the
Get your
plow.
tractor out and just mow it.
I'm just gonna get my tractor and the plow.
Anything else, Sherry?
Nope.
Thank you. Well, thanks for making time in a normal, busy day to do a special meeting. We did have some things we needed to move forward, so happy to do that. Our next meeting is on the 15th?
Yes.
Monday the 15th at a normal time. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
No, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.